It's great to be here to celebrate the Morris County St. Paddy's Day Parade. I grew up nearby and have cheered on many, many parades over the years, and so know what a special event this is and a special day in Morristown. And of course, it was so great to hear that Father Paddy was named Grand Marshal. For this year's celebration, I'm honored to introduce Paddy. He's been a wonderful friend for many, many years. I've known Paddy since he arrived to St. Patrick's in Chatham way back in 1977, Paddy, which is hard to believe. At that time, my brothers and sisters, many of whom are here, and myself, we were pretty young, and we probably understood about 10 to 15% of what Paddy was saying because of his gruff drawl. But whenever he was around, it seemed like there was a celebration, laughter, and music, and he quickly became a member of the White family. Our names are White, to be clear. And he also is adopted, I know, by many other families in the area. And a wonderful thing is that when we adopted Paddy into our family, his entire family came with a package. One of my earliest memories of Paddy, actually, is of his father. I know Packy and Patsy were mentioned earlier, but Father Paddy's father, Packy, was a wonderful violin player, professional violin player. And I remember as a small child, he played the violin on Christmas Eve in our living room. And my mother told me that it was the cooling. And it was such a beautiful evening and a special, special night. Paddy's mother, Patsy, was such a gentle woman with a great sense of humor, and it was so great to see Jerry O'Grady. Jerry O'Grady's my father-in-law. He's also here. Jerry O'Donovan. I remember playing soccer in the backyard at Thanksgiving with Jerry and the crew. All the O'Donovans were wonderful ambassadors for the Irish heritage and made us love Ireland even more than we did already as children. And Paddy carried the Irish flag especially high when he arrived on our shores in New Jersey, organizing many trips to Ireland for not only the parish but the entire town of Chatham without any insurance, any waivers. He also staged many concerts for visiting Irish musicians, including Sogert, the Singing Irish Priest, which I remember, which were great performances. And Paddy himself sang the Irish Blessing and Danny Boy at seemingly every event, whether it was a celebratory event or a tragic event throughout town. So for those of us who have known Paddy for many years, it feels like he's been a Grand Marshal, leading us on an Irish parade since the day we met him. When so many of us think of Ireland, we think of Father Paddy. But I didn't fully understand the intensity of Paddy's love and pride for Ireland until 1994, when he was named the local team liaison for the Irish World Cup team for its games at Giant Stadium. Ireland, as you may recall, was drawn into a very tough group in 1994 and opened against a very heavily favored Italian team on June 16th. As I'm sure many of you recall, that day was a glorious day to be Irish, or have Irish heritage. Giant Stadium felt like Croke Park in Dublin, with the Irish bands and their singing. And Ray Houghton scored a rocket goal from outside the box in the 12th minute over the outstretched hands of the Italian keeper, and Ireland won 1-0 in a glorious, glorious win. Up Ireland. Now, the role of local liaison in World Cup policy is traditionally more or less a background type role. Someone to assist players and coaches on their off day with things like dinner reservations or taxi reservations. In the case of Father Paddy, it would be an understatement to say that he redefined the role of local liaison. I have a couple friends that were there working for the World Cup Committee, and they've confirmed for me several of this information. Paddy established a number of firsts for a team liaison in those years. He was the liaison with the most golf matches ever played with the team he was responsible for between games. He had the most cash bets for a liaison and took more money from the coaches and players of the team he was responsible for in World Cup history. It's also the first time Paddy, a local liaison, physically sprinted onto the field to hug his team's coaches, players, and anyone else he could get his hands on at the final whistle after Ireland beat Italy. And on an interesting note, one of the people that Paddy hugged that day after Ireland beat Italy was the executive director of the Giant Stadium venue, His name happened to be Charlie Stilitano. Charlie was going to try to be here. I don't think he made it tonight. He's in Europe. Charlie's middle name is Vincenzo. His parents are from Calabria, in south of Italy. Normally, Charlie is an incredibly gregarious soul and very close with Paddy. But in the split seconds before Paddy gave Charlie a flying bear hug while singing Ole Ole and Ooh Ah Up the Lads, Charlie looked visibly distraught, like he was either going to throw up, cry, or kill someone. Amazingly, Paddy survived the hug. Incidentally, moments later, Paddy turned and ran through the tunnel of Giant Stadium, continuing to sing Up the Lads, and he actually cut through the Italian team line as they were coming off the field, having lost the game. Finally, Paddy set a record for the longest amount of time a local team liaison ever stayed in that role with the team. Just for context, in theory, Paddy's role ended after Ireland's game against Italy at Giant Stadium. Several weeks later, Ireland had qualified for the second round, and they were playing way off in Orlando, Florida, the Citrus Bowl. I called Paddy from my office to see if he might be around with the thought we'd go to a bar in Marshtown to watch the game. Paddy said he'd need to call me back. He was on the bus with the Irish team in Orlando, headed to the Citrus Bowl for the game. Couldn't call me back. Fast forward 8 years and 2 World Cups to 2002. Paddy was on the bench with the Irish team against Spain. That game was in Seoul, South Korea. This is all true. We have fun with Paddy about the never-ending liaison role with the World Cup, but I think it shows both the depth of his pride and his love for Ireland, the strength of his friendships. The Irish team invited him on all these journeys over 8 years, plus he has wonderful friendships still. And I think it shows that Paddy never does anything halfway. I do want to highlight one other example of where Paddy has thrown himself heart and soul and represented Ireland and Irish Americans so honorably. And that is his passionate and active support for humanitarian causes. Specifically, caring and serving the poor wherever they are, the least of our brothers and sisters. Everywhere Paddy has been, and I know many of you know him from different locations, but whether Newton, Chatham, Drew University, Christ the King, Notre Dame, Mount Carmel, Paddy has led his parishioners in meaningful projects to help the less fortunate. And I really do think like ripples of water, his projects have continued over many, many years, and the scale of their impact has been tremendous in terms of making the world a better place. Just a few quick examples before Artie tackles me to get me off the microphone. In 1986, Paddy rallied his St. Patrick's Youth Ministry, which was such a dynamic and important community for youth in Chatham, to start taking annual trips to Appalachian, West Virginia, to build and repair homes for the rural poor in Preston, West Virginia. What started as a small flood relief effort has now blossomed and continued annually for 30 years, over 30 years, positively impacting thousands of families in West Virginia, as well as the lives of the countless volunteers that have participated in the program. Now, Artie Flynn has been a critical part of that over the years. The McGearys, I'm not sure if they're here. Fred Mercadante, I'm not sure if Fred's here, still runs that wonderful program. But again, it was Paddy's initiative and Paddy's sweat and heart and soul. Since 2014, across multiple parishes now, Paddy has channeled his energy and leadership towards supporting trips to Guatemala in Central America to help the poor communities there. He has joined a number of those trips in person, and I know many an Irish blessing has been sung in the homes and the bars in Antigua, Guatemala with Guatemalan brothers and sisters. In my case, a trip to Appalachian High School and Paddy's encouragement inspired me to seek out volunteer opportunities abroad. After college, I went to Latin America, and Paddy was such an instrumental part in that, his support. There are many, many other examples. I'm sure that Paddy's commitment to these causes comes in large part from his very strong faith. I know he's a man of strong faith and prayer. But I also believe, that, as I'm sure he does, that it ties in with his Irishness, his Irish immigration, his experience as an Irishman who came to America in a very deep way. Paddy often proudly notes that Ireland, for all of the poverty, injustice, and suffering that Ireland has endured over many centuries, it continues to be a shining beacon in the world when it comes to volunteers and humanitarian work across the globe. whenever there's a natural or human crisis, whether it's in Haiti, whether it's in Bosnia, whether it's in the Sudan, the Irish are always in the front lines to help. And in fact, as I was preparing this last night, I Googled Ireland, and there are a number of recent reports ranking Ireland as #1 in the world for humanitarian efforts in the world. So up Ireland. I think Paddy's life and his efforts over the years in the US and abroad are clearly a part of that ranking and that story of compassion from Ireland. Paddy, I speak not only for myself, but for my entire family. So happy to have them here, as you are, I know, and probably everyone else I can think of, except for the Italian team in 1994. When I say that there cannot be a more appropriate Grand Marshal for this parade, or an ambassador for the Irish culture and spirit. Congratulations to you, to the committee, up Ireland, up Bruff, Sláinte. It's my pleasure to introduce Father Paddy O'Donoghue.
Our 2019 Grand Marshal for the St. Patrick's Day Parade, Father Paddy O'Donoghue. I'm going to put this on. Father, if you would raise your right hand, you repeat after me. I solemnly swear that I will, hang on. I solemnly swear.
You're either going to join the army or be a Grand Marshal.
I can't read this without glasses.
Hold on, I got it.
I solemnly swear that as an Irish American.
As an Irish American.
Are you American?
I'm Irish American.
I will support the bylaws and principles of the Norris County St. Patrick's Day Parade. Support the bylaws and principles
of the Norris County
St. Patrick's Day Parade. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. And that I will perform the duties of the Grand Marshal of the Morris County St. Patrick's Day Parade faithfully, impartially, justly, and to the best of my ability. So help me God.
So help me God.
Please be seated.
Willing to the boys that there, okay? You never know what might happen. First of all, Pat, White, my good friend for many, many years. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. And I do thank you all for gathering here tonight as we remember and honour St. Patrick, that good old saint from Ireland. I'm very grateful to the friendly sons of St. Patrick, to the Irish American Association of North West Jersey for selecting me as Grand Marshal for the year 2019. I also need to thank all the volunteers who have worked tirelessly ensuring the financial success of the parade and the monies offered to so many charities associated with the parade. That wonderful array of men that were led in by the pipe band a while ago, all the past Grand Marshals, I congratulate all of them, and I am honored to be listed in their company. So thank you guys, Grand Marshals of previous parades. I should say John Murphy is our most recent Grand Marshal, and I'm taking over from a wonderful, fine man who was on it here just this past week with the Washington Ball memory, and we congratulate you too, John. Thank you. Well, I've been handing out some pins, and I think I ran out of them so far, but there'll be more available on the day of the parade. The theme of the Grand Marshal pin I've chosen is St. Patrick, immigrant and missionary disciple. Patrick was an immigrant to Ireland, and he became a most successful missionary disciple of Jesus Christ. I too am proud to be an immigrant and a missionary disciple in the spirit of Patrick, serving in this wonderful land, the United States of America. My missionary journey in the United States began in a wonderful parish in 1972 at St. Joseph's in Newton. From there I continued my work as priest at St. Patrick, Chatham. I was there for 14 years. Thank you. From there I was sent to a most wonderful assignment. All of them have been wonderful assignments, but this was a unique one for me, to Drew and Fairleigh Dickinson universities here in Morris County. And I spent 5 years there serving the young people at the universities. My next assignment was at the Church of Christ the King in New Vernon, and there I spent 19 wonderful years. And currently, I'm at the wonderful parish of Notre Dame of Mount Carmel in Sydney. And say, all assignments and the many friends I made on the way, I must admit, and I must honor and I'm grateful for, you've made me a better priest and a better person. Notre Dame, my current field of dreams, is blessing me with a brand new hope for the life of the church, so in need of new mission and new discipleship. But way before I came to this wonderful land of the United States, my immigrant story began in a little town, Bruff, County Limerick. And there, my mom and dad, Patsy and Packy O'Donovan, were wonderful, wonderful parents to a most wonderful, wonderful, exciting, controversial times, loving times as a family. We all got into good discussions as we grew up as brothers and sisters. It was wonderful. But mom and dad, my dad in particular, like many immigrants today, my dad spent most of his life working abroad and sending money home to put bread on the table. And I'm very grateful to a cousin of mine, Carl Shanahan, from my hometown as well in Bruff, who took great care of my dad when he came out here first. I think it was 1959. But after I was ordained a priest, both my mom and dad immigrated here and lived here for many years. And actually this year, 2019, which is a special honor for me, my mom would be 100 years old this year on St. Patrick's Day. So I remember and I honor them tonight with so much gratitude and love. And tonight also, I remember with honor and gratitude all the O'Donovans from Bruff, especially my brothers, Bill, Jack, Jim, Ger, and my sisters Kate and Anna and their spouses. With pride, I also remember all my cousins and nieces and nephews from Bruff. And God forbid that I would fail to mention my mother's people. They were wonderful people from Ireland, the Cumbaws. Now, a Cumba is really a Spanish or a North Portuguese name, but you can remember again that Ireland was also a land of immigrants, not only sending immigrants out around the world, but also people coming to Ireland. And so I'm very grateful to the Cumbaws, my mom's side of the family. And I should also note, and you would maybe find some interest in this, that the 35th President of the United States, John
Fitzgerald
Kennedy, swore his oath of office on the Bible of his grandfather, Thomas Fitzgerald, who immigrated from my hometown in 1852. So we have the Fitzgeralds and the JFK. And that Bible is now preserved at the JFK Presidential Library in Boston. So tonight, I accept the honor, the wonderful honor of being Grand Marshal in the name of all my family in Bruff, the O'Donovans from Bruff and the Combaws from Croom, County Limerick, and also all the immigrants, sons and daughters of the world, children of God. Now, in 1973, and I hope Willie Lynch is here. Are you there, Willie? You are. God bless you. In 1973, Limerick won the All-Ireland Championship, and I was there. And just this past August 2018, they won it again. So it's a surprise that I might sing a song, right? Okay, God bless us. Well, I have not sung this song before in my life, so Willie, I'm going to be depending on you. And maybe Melissa will hand out, I want you all to join with me in the chorus. Just pass out the chorus to the tables. It's Limerick, You're a Lady. It's a lovely little song. Limerick, you're a lady. Your Shannon waters, tears of joy that flows. The beauty that surrounds you, I take it with me, love, wherever I go. While waking in the arms of distant waters, a new day finds me far away from home. And Limerick, you're my lady, the one true love that I have ever known. Let's sing it once more. Limerick, you're my lady, your shining waters, tears of joy that flows. The beauty that surrounds you, I take it with me, love, wherever I go. While waking in the arms of distant waters, a new day finds me far away from home. And Limerick, you're my lady, the one true love that I have ever known. As children, you and I spent endless days of fun in winter snows and summer's golden sun. We fished the silver streams, the fabric of my dreams was fashioned by your loveliness, and so I have to say, Limerick, you're my lady, your Shannon waters, tears of joy that flows. The beauty that surrounds you, I take it with me, love, wherever I go. While waking in the arms of distant waters, a new day finds me far away from home. And Limerick, you're my lady, the one true love that I have ever known. A gift that time has made to travelers on their way, seeking out the beauty of our land. A shrine where children play and bells ring out to say, thank God we're living just to feel the freedom of each day. Limerick, you're my lady, your shining waters, tears of joy that flows. The liberty that surrounds you, I take it with me, love, wherever I go. While walking in the arms of distant waters, a new day finds me far away from home. beauty that surrounds you. I take it with me, love, wherever I go. While waking in the arms of distant waters, and the new day finds me far away from home. And Limerick, you're my lady, the one true love that I have ever known. And Limerick, you're my lady, the one true love that I have ever known.